What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dom coming back at you another True Players podcast episode with my hermano Matthew from Jacobin Sports Show and author of the Strick.land article. We're back again. This time we're not gonna we are gonna talk about a little bit about Mets, but we're gonna mostly talk about our New York Knicks. Knicks talk with Matthew. A lot of things have been going on. Knicks have lost 9 out of the last 10 games. And they got back in the win column with a blowout against the Nets. Before we get into that, we introduce Matt to the show.
What's up, everybody? Matthew Miranda. I am covering the Knicks this year at postingandtoasting.com, and I do occasionally host Jacobin Sports Show. Haven't done it in a while, but should have a new episode coming out soon. So check it out and check me out at postingandtoasting.com.
Okay. Cool. Well, this team was touted as a team to come out the East this year for the NBA championship. Mm-hmm. They started off slowly, then they got into a groove, and now after the New Year, they've hit a swoon. A lot of fans are not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm kind of worried because we have the Boston Celtics, who are in first place currently right now. And it looks like Detroit's going to run away with the number one seed. And that's a team that we definitely got to worry about, is the Detroit Pistons. So your thoughts on that?
So I think Detroit has done every single thing that they could possibly do to impress you to this point. And I think there's always the fear, when you're the established veteran team that has all the pressure. The only way the Knicks have a successful season is if they reach the finals. Mm-hmm. The Pistons haven't won a playoff series in almost 20 years. So they're dealing with completely different levels of pressure. So I credit Detroit for everything they've done at this point. I think that, as we saw last year with them in the playoffs, if Detroit makes a move and gets either Lauri Markkanen or Michael Porter Jr., I would be concerned, because Cade Cunningham has had to work his entire career with almost no floor spacing. And even last year in the playoffs, when the Knicks faced the Pistons, and if you remember, Michael Beasley had led the league in three-point shooting. Michael Beasley had a rough series, and you respected him, but you weren't oh my God, Michael Beasley's gonna beat us, he's gonna kill us. Whereas a Markkanen or a Porter is someone that you just literally cannot leave this person open. So Detroit could scare me, but I think it's important to remember that the playoffs is a completely different reality, and the Pistons have, just we know all the Knicks flaws, we know what the Knicks problems are. The Pistons still don't really have any shooting. As awesome as Cade is, he's not quite at the Shea level. He's kind of a 1 degree lesser version of Shea, which is great. But to this point, he's still not a great shooter. And the Pistons, again, they may make a move, but also, other than Cade, they don't really have another ball handler. Last year, if you remember in the playoffs, Dennis Schroeder was really effective against the Knicks, because the Knicks have a problem stopping quick guards at the point of attack, and Detroit had one. They could even play Schroeder with Cunningham. Unless they make a move, they don't really have that this year. So I think they could easily win 60 games and have the number one seed in a great regular season. I would still take the Knicks over them in a playoff series, but it's closer than it was in my mind when the year started. And I do think Detroit can probably beat just about anyone else in the East, except maybe Boston. But I think Detroit could beat Cleveland, and I did not think that 4 or 5 months ago.
I want to talk to you because I remember you sent me a message in your article, and you mentioned about Jalen Brunson and his inability. And the article, if I'm trying to remember, you mentioned that his inability to make his teammates better.
So I want to be clear that this is the highest level of criticism. Jalen Brunson's not just some dude. This is the highest level of criticism. But I think he's at that level where he warrants it. If you remember, Michael Jordan, I'll bring up Jordan and Steph Curry for 2 reasons that I think make them Brunson comps. Steph, because he's really the only small guard in, since probably Isaiah Thomas. He's the only small guard that has led a team to championships. And Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan kind of had a similar arc to Brunson, in that Michael Jordan, by his late 20s, had like kind of shown like he can do it all. Like individually, he can score, but like the Chicago hadn't advanced all the way, and part of the reason was they didn't need Jordan to score 40 a game. They needed Jordan to score 30 a game, and they needed him to set up Pippen and Paxson and Armstrong and Grant, and he began to trust them, and they were more dangerous. If you remember watching those games back in the day, what was incredibly frustrating was like a game where Jordan would have like 45, you can't stop him, and then when you finally forced him to pass it, like John Paxson's making an open three. I don't. I think Jalen Brunson makes his teammates better as far as the spacing he provides and attention that he gives. But part of what got me thinking about it, like, besides being a brilliant scorer, Steph Curry does other things. Like Steph Curry and Michael Jordan, I both had, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but like when I was researching for this article, Steph and Michael Jordan have both averaged assists. I know I have the number here. I want to give it to you because it's a good. Here it is. Yeah, here we go. So just to get the point I'm trying to get to is that Steph and Jordan did multiple things really well. They weren't just scorers. They did like multiple things. Michael Jordan's 6 seasons had like 7.5 assists or more. Steph did it 3 times. Brunson's never done it. As far as steals, Steph got about 2 steals a game 5 times. Jordan did it his first 9 years. Brunson's never done it. He's not a turnover guy. Brunson's never averaged 5 rebounds. Jordan did it 11 times. Steph has done it 8 times. So what I'm getting to with all that is, if you are a Brunson level player where you're as good a scorer as there is, you're not a playmaker on the level of the top guys. Like, I love Brunson. I cannot think this is now his 4th season as a Knick. Can you think of a single highlight pass that Jalen Brunson has ever made? And again, this is not a criticism. Like, I don't care. He does other things, but the point is, Karl-Anthony Towns is not good enough to win a title with as your second best player, unless your first best player is an all NBA level person. Brunson right now is just below that because he's an elite scorer, he's an elite clutch player, he's elite all these things. But I think until he makes the leap as a playmaker or a defender, like, I don't think either of the Knicks' best players. It's like a pitching staff where like Brunson is a really, really perfect 2. And he could be a 1, but like he has to do more to show it. And Towns, I know Towns is not a 1. I don't think Towns is really a 2. Now you can win with him because he doesn't have to be your second best. Like, I think Hart is as important to the Knicks as Towns is. Towns is better. But I think I don't think Towns is ever going to be different than what he is, which is very talented, a bit of a space cadet, dumb fouls. Like, he's always going to limit himself. So your chance of criticism, it's just saying like Michael Jordan did it and Steph Curry did it. And I think Brunson is good enough that he can make that jump too.
Okay. But my issue is, though, we traded for Mikal Bridges. Did we trade him for just the defense, or did we trade him for his offense as well? Because when he was with Brooklyn, he was averaging, close to 24 points per game. And now with the Knicks, he's down to like 16.9 points per game for the season. And your thoughts? What do you think that is? I don't know if I lost you, Matt, or you got. I think we lost Matt here, guys. Let's pose a question to the viewers out there. What do you think it is? Why was a sudden dip in? All right, Matt, you bet. Did you hear my question?
Sorry, no, I cut there for a little bit. I just got back in now. What was your question?
Good. My question to you is that We traded for Mikal Bridges. Do we trade him for his defense, or do we trade him for the complete player that he could be, that he is? Because when he was with the Nets, he was averaging over 24.9 points per game.
I think Bridges is where Porter is now. Like he did score that much, and I think when they traded for him, I think they had two things in mind, and one has kind of worked and one hasn't. I do think they wanted the complete player, and I think if you watch the Knicks this year, even though Bridges again is he started very strong and maybe he's tailed off since then, he still is, after Towns and Bridges, by far their most effective player at creating his own shot in the half court. He's very important for the Knicks as a mid-range threat, given how much they and every team now likes to score at the rim or behind the arc. You have to have players who can do things inside and between. Bridges' pull-up game and OG's cuts, like at heart, the Knicks that's one reason their offense is very good. I think they also brought Bridges in thinking this will be a point of attack, like kind of monster defensively, and that he has not been. I don't know if that's an energy thing. If you watch him particularly navigating screens, that used to be like a Bridges, like he was like a shadow. It was like a specialty. I don't know if it's that he's older. I don't know if it's the games. He never takes a day off. Like he's not quite as slippery again. So he hasn't been the defensive player that they thought he would be. But again, early in year two, he's had big moments for them in the playoffs. He has, between last year playoffs and regular season, he's won 4 or 5 games for them at the buzzer with defensive plays. Like, I think he's been really, really good. I do think that, like, in retrospect, they probably would not have traded 5 firsts, and I think it was a swap for him, or 4 firsts and a swap. But I think he's done I think he's basically been what you thought he would be, given that, like, he just went from being the top option on the Nets to the, at best, 3rd or 4th option on the Knicks.
Okay.
Now let me ask you something.
Yeah.
And I know we still have a few months until the playoffs start, but if we get to the playoffs and the Knicks are reasonably healthy, if everybody's reasonably healthy, and Tatum is back enough that he's like in a rhythm with Boston, are you more afraid of Detroit or Boston for the Knicks?
Boston, because of the experience.
Yeah.
And they're hungry.
Tatum working his way back.
Yeah. They're hungry. They want to beat the Knicks.
I think they do.
That loss last season. They both do. That's why I feel that this Knicks team, I think, doesn't bring the same intensity it brought as they brought last season with Thibs as coach. I'm not sure if it's a coaching thing. I'm not sure it's a coaching thing, but I just believe that last year's Knicks was much more intense. More often than not last season.
I do think so. I think two things that don't quite go together. I do agree with you that I think the peak. I don't know how fair it is to measure intensity, because we tend to like want intensity. Like, we'll cross to the Mets. Carlos Beltran, just elected to the Hall of Fame, was a player who oftentimes would be criticized by people who said, like, he kind of looked lazy. He kind of looked like he wasn't always going full out. And part of that was just like, he was so good and so graceful and so efficient. Like, he didn't have to look like he didn't have to run like Lenny Dykstra to look, to get to the ball. But it didn't look like he was. So I think with the Knicks, like, I think 2 years ago when they had the Randall DiVincenzo team, the intensity it came through your screen. Like, they were just. And that team, if you remember, by the end of the season, like, they were all injured. Like, they were. I mean, I think it was a Thibodeau dream. Like, and we love that team, but like, that's a hard style to maintain over 7 months and 100 games. And then I think last year you see Towns, and not just Towns. Towns and Bridges are not fiery, red hot. They're not that kind of player. Whereas Randall and DiVincenzo were. I don't think one is worse than the other, but I do think, like, 2 years ago, the Knicks were like a nice rising story, and they were a bit scrappier. And now they're more talented. Their ceiling's definitely higher, but their floor is lower. And Towns is kind of, I hate using the word. Towns is, a very easy target when things are going wrong. And I think that OG tends to be more quiet. Bridges is not quiet, but it's certainly not loud. Hart is not, for all his personality, he's not a like controversial. Like, it's interesting you bring up the coaching. Like, Brunson is not usually a public like rah-rah guy either. So who is the person in the organization that if they are in a lull, who pulls them out of this? Is it Mike Brown? Is it Rick Brunson? Is it Jalen Brunson? Is it Mitch? Is it someone? Does it have to be a star? Like, I don't know. And I'm not concerned because every team that's won the NBA Cup has gone through a kind of a swoon. And the Knicks built up a big lead early in the year. Like, everyone struggles. If you look now, Cleveland's like a couple games behind the Knicks. Cleveland was done, 2-3 weeks ago. So I'm not worried, but I'm beginning to wonder just if like, and we can't know till the playoffs, but I'm starting to just wonder, like, does this team have the necessary everything to get to the finals? If that means, like it would right now, you might get, let's say, Philly in round 1, at Boston round 2, at Detroit round 3. Now, the owner has said he expects them to win a title. I don't, like, my goal is just get to the finals this year. So, like, I'll have to see how they play the Thunder. They don't play them till March. But, like, I think they can do it. I would not say that I am more encouraged now than I was when the year started. I don't know how much less encouraged I am, but I'm not more encouraged. What about you?
To be honest with you, I'm less encouraged.
What is the most disappointing aspect to you of their team so far this year?
When Mitch is not in the game, the offensive rebounding dips down tremendously. The intensity to grab the rebound. You can't have just Mitch going after offensive rebounds. Ket has to be in there to get offensive rebounds. Maybe if they had re-signed a guy like Precious Achua, a dog. Precious Achua is a dog. And if you've seen that game, I seen that game in Sacramento. He was on some, his intensity level. He wanted to kill the Knicks. You saw the look at his eye. He wanted to kill the Knicks. He was hitting 3-point shots, grabbing rebounds, stripping, stealing balls, blocking shots. This man was on a mission to let the Knicks know that you fucked up.
He had a very good game, and there has been talk that just to be fair to Towns, Mitch hasn't played enough to rank for offense, otherwise he would be number 1. Towns is also 14th, so he's like up there as well. Who are we just talking about? Who are we just talking about, Tom? Achua. I like Precious. I would be probably happier with him than Yabusele. And there has been talk that like the Knicks might be one of the names of bigs that they might have a shot at. Achua's name has come up. I would say that like I think I like Precious more than most people who like the Knicks. I don't think he's really he doesn't have to be, but like I don't think he's a difference maker. We've seen in the last couple of years. He has nice moments. And he has moments of limitation, and I would take him over Yabusele. But I don't. If so, let's say you traded, because I think Precious is on a minimum. If you traded Yabusele and Clarkson for a better guard, let's say I just saw an article today about. Give me 1 second to find this. I just saw an article about players. I'm trying to remember who this might trade for. I'm trying to remember who the guards were. But if you could turn Clarkson and Yabusele into Precious and an improvement at guard somewhere, or another wing maybe, I would take that over. I don't think Clarkson. I think Clarkson's been Clarkson. I don't know how much they need specifically what he does, because you really can't play Brunson and Clarkson together defensively in any kind of a big moment. So Clarkson, particularly when the playoffs come around, is only going to play when Brunson doesn't, which is going to be like never. I don't know. I don't know, man. They're an interesting team.
They need another wing.
I think so. There's been a lot. Your guy has been mentioned. Sadiq Bey has been mentioned.
Yeah.
As someone who might be traded. Jeremy Soyan from the Spurs, who I like a lot. Cannot score at all, but a really good defender, point of attack. I like him because they don't have that point of attack defender. It's not really what McBride is really good at staying with people. He's not someone that you like blitz on a great ball handler, and Bridges is not either. And I think Bridges is too important to them offensively to have him go all out defensively. But if you get a guy like Soyan, and in the playoffs you give him 10 minutes a game to just sick on Maxey or Derek White or Cade, that's very different than if it's 10 minutes of Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think with a few episodes ago, I remember asking you, like, do you think they need a point guard or a wing or a big? Because I thought they needed all of them. I think they need the big and the wing the most at this point. Because I think Kolek has shown enough that he can play like 10 minutes in the playoffs and be fine.
He'll be fine, yeah. I like his leadership. We mentioned in the previous episode, I like Kolek's leadership on the floor when he's on the floor.
He seems like a good player to have on your team.
You need another wing. I don't know what type of wing I would try to get, because I don't want. Well, who do we have? We had Reggie Bullock. I want someone better than Reggie Bullock. Type of player.
You want better than Bullock right now? You're saying
better than Bullock.
So the only trick in all of this, like the only trick, I'll give you a few names of some people that like could work. We've mentioned a few. We've mentioned Achua. There's a couple other guys, but just remember that like what's very tricky for the Knicks, and Washington has the Trae Young trade has kind of screwed the Knicks over, because Washington has done this crap that teams do now, where they trade for someone and then they decide that they're hurt. And like Trae Young had literally just come back from an injury to Atlanta. He gets traded to Washington. Suddenly, he has that same old injury. He's not really going to play all season.
Wow!
Just to guarantee that the Wizards will lose enough to keep their first-round pick, which would go to the Knicks if it's outside the top 8. So the Knicks are limited in terms of what they can trade. They can trade some firsts, the Washington first, and they have very little room to make a deal. And because Washington's going to keep that pick, it will now turn into 2 seconds, which still has some value because the Wizards are near the bottom, so it's a good second-round pick. But like the point is, the Knicks are limited in what they can do by the rules. They cannot take back any more money than they send out. I believe that's like a second apron stipulation. And there's rules about, and they're limited a little bit in terms of how many picks they can trade because of the ones they've traded. But in addition to the names that you've mentioned, let me give you a couple other guys and see if you have any. Well, really in particular one guy, because he comes up a lot, and he's a wing. He's not so Keon Ellis on Sacramento. He's 6'4". He was like one of the best stories for Sacramento last year. Very high energy defensive player, more in you think like Antonio Cromartie, or like a player who's like he's a playmaker. Like he's going to get steals, he's going to get deflections. He's not a sick cover guy, but like he's a playmaker. That's what Keon Ellis is like. Good, fifth option corner 3 shooting kind of guy. The thing that concerns a lot of teams is they say like, well, wait a minute, like Sacramento's terrible and they don't play him. So like, what's going? If you can't play for Sacramento, would you rather have a guy like Sadiq Bey, who's like a 6'8", 3-and-D kind of big wing? Would you rather have a Soyan, who's like real good point of attack defender and has no shooting game whatsoever, or a player like Keon Ellis, who's more what Bridges is supposed to be defensively, but and like a 3-and-D guy, but like smaller, more of a 2 than a 3-4. Which of that type of player do you think would be the best fit for them?
Ooh, I like Sadiq Bey because you could also slide him into the four for limited minutes, and you're gonna need that, especially when you got Robinson on the floor. At least you have someone in the four position who could still score a little bit for you guys. Another guy I kind of like piqued my interest is, you may not agree with me, Kyle Kuzma.
I am not pro Kuzma, but give me your reasons for why you think he would help this team.
Offensively, he spreads the floor out.
Mm-hmm.
He can create his own shot. Can grab you a few rebounds, but the only thing that's lacking with him is defense. We got too many of the guys who can't play defense on the team as it is. But he stretches the floor, he creates his own shot, and he can shoot the three.
All right.
And he's a big wing. He could definitely play the four and the three.
I'm going to tell you something now, Dom, and I'm going to tell you this in love because I've seen it happen to other people, and I see it happening to you also. Mm-hmm. There is a Kyle Kuzma syndrome. A lot of us have it, where we think he's one kind of player because when he's good, he's so good. Mm-hmm. But if you look at Kyle Kuzma's numbers, like he has been a subpar 3-point shooter most of his career. Mm-hmm. He's a decent rebounder, and mm-hmm. he is a player that, like, he's more like you have to defend him not because he can't miss, but because, like, he's going to shoot if you don't. But, like, here's what I wondered. And do you think there is an opportunity? Because I think this hurts Clarkson, and I wonder if it would hurt Kuzma. The way the Knicks are designed, do you mm-hmm. think this team has room for someone who comes off the bench and really is just, like, mostly looking to get points? Because I feel like Brunson plays so much mm-hmm. and controls the ball so much, and Towns gets so many shots. Like, how much opportunity is there on this team for a player to come off the bench? And, like, Clarkson's job is, like, come in and shoot. Like, get going, shoot. Mm. And that doesn't really work here when, like, you got Brunson and Towns and OG, and don't shoot. There's better people. But, like, that's his game. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Bey, and one thing I like about Bey, this maybe isn't a reason to do it, and, like, knock on wood, man, but, like, OG gets hurt a lot. And right now, if OG gets hurt, that's it. There's no one on the roster his size. There's no three. But Sadiq Bey, he's not OG, but mm-hmm. he is a good, like, if OG's, OG pulled his hamstring, he's a little tweaky, but you still got Sadiq Bey, like, you feel a lot better than if it's, mm-hmm. we got to now slot Hard up or bring in Kolick or bring in Huck Porter. Like, I like Bey too.
All right, definitely. We got Old Man Knicks fan on the comments. He mentioned Herb Jones. What do you think about Herb Jones?
He's really good. I don't know if he is. Look up his number quickly. New Orleans has been a bit odd about. Everyone feels like that they should be selling, and they're kind of like what Chicago used to be like, where everyone feels they should be making moves, and for some reason they don't. Your problem with Herb Jones, is other than one season of his career, he's been the thing that's always held him back. He's a below average 3-point shooter. He doesn't really, like, he's a tremendous defensive player. But if you're going to trade for Herb Jones, he makes next year he makes about 15 million, then 20, then 22. They literally cannot trade for Herb Jones this year, I believe, because anyone who makes more than, he's right around the number. Anybody who makes more than, like, 12 or 13 million this year, the mm-hmm. Knicks cannot trade for, unless it's like a 1-for-1 salary. Like, they can't do it because of the apron rule. So the literal only way the Knicks could trade for Herb Jones would be if, like, they traded Mitch for him. And mm-hmm. I don't know that. I mean, that helps on one end, but, like, really would hurt them on another.
Mitch is a Swiss Army knife when healthy. He could run out to the 3-point line. He grabs steals. He could block shots, offensive rebounds. If I could get another Mitch on the team, Old Man Knicks fan mentioned, defensive first type of player. I definitely agree with that. I feel that the only reason why I agree with it no matter what, but you got a ball dominant point guard mm-hmm. who at times could even freeze out. I'm not saying purposely freezes out his second scorer, But there's times this season where Karl-Anthony Towns has less than 10 shots a game. And that's supposed to be your second scorer.
I think I see this because I covered the Liberty for a few years also.
Mm-hmm.
The Liberty have Breonna Stewart, who's like one of the great women's players of all time by far.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch the Liberty game in, game out, Jonquel Jones is the most unstoppable player on the team. Like, there are players who have been better than Shaq, but like Shaq was the most unstoppable player. Like, you could not guard him with one person. You can't do it.
Right.
You cannot guard Jonquel Jones with one person. If you put Karl-Anthony Towns down on the block, you generally cannot guard him with one person.
Right.
With his touch, if he would just, do the occasional, Ewing turnaround, fadeaway jumper, couple hook, but they don't. And this goes back to this has been since they got Towns. Like, they have never looked to me like they have an interest in maximizing what Towns does. I feel like they're happy with the spacing that he provides because it opens things up for Brunson. And I was thinking about this the other day, and this isn't, again, a criticism, but like, it's just noticing, is this a trend? When they got Brunson and Randall the first year together, I remember thinking, like, those two don't run a lot of pick and rolls, and I figure they would. They're your two best players, and Randall can handle the ball, and like, you get a great switch because you're either getting Randall on a guard, or you're getting Brunson against. But they didn't really happen, and I remember thinking, like, okay, well, now that they've had a year together, we'll see a lot more of that, and we didn't. And when Towns came last year, all the talk was, oh my God, Towns pick and roll, like, you can't stop that. And for about 2 months, nobody could. And then everybody started switching their wings onto Cat, and then there was no adjustment. And now this season again, so it again comes down to my thing with Brunson, where like, I don't see Jalen Brunson doing anything to make Karl-Anthony Towns better. And Jalen Brunson is the best player on the team. He's the point guard. He is the most lauded Knick since Patrick Ewing. He has to do that.
Right. And I do see when Kolek has the ball, there's a different cat on the court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm very disappointed. The guy I'm disappointed in is Huck Porty. He has an opportunity to help this team, and he's been disappointing. I like his motor. I like his energy.
Yes. Yes.
But there's times this year.
Go ahead, Dom.
There's times he looks lost on that court. I didn't see that last year.
Well, so here's the chicken egg. I mean, Towns has said publicly a few times that his role in the system is the most different, and Brown has said it too, that a big who plays 4 or 5 in his system has to like know the most and do the most. And it's why Towns has struggled, he says. Maybe Huck Porty has had a similar kind of thing. I thought this year Kolek and Huck Porty were the two players who, like, man, if any of those guys can like take a leap. And I think Kolek's taking a big enough leap that, like, oh, good, he's like an everyday, he's a rotation player now. I think Mitch is like the Knicks like drug addiction, where like they cannot win without him, but you can't win with him because you can't depend on him to. So I think if Huck Porty, I guess a chicken egg thing does he not play because he's ineffective? Is he ineffective because he doesn't play a lot? I don't know, and I think they're gonna make a trade because I don't think when the owner talks for the first time like in years to the public or to the media, and he says explicitly like, I expect us to get to the finals and to win. You don't care about developing Huck Port. Like you're doing whatever you have to do it now. So like, I think they're gonna do something. I think, and I like this for them. I think this is to their credit. I think they'll do whatever they can. Like, I don't think they're gonna like make a small safe move. I think like if they can do something, they're gonna do something. I don't know if it's Giannis. I don't really want Giannis, but I'm willing to admit that like I might be stupid for saying that. Leon Rose is really, really effective at like, he makes it happen. Like when they want to make something happen, even when it doesn't look like it can happen, I think they're going to do something, and I don't think it's going to be a marginal move. But we'll have to wait and see.
I'm already envisioning a scenario that we see OG no longer on this team.
Possible. It's possible because he's one of the only people that you can move that would make any kind of a like where you could match him up in a deal and it would make sense of the Knicks players right now like this year. So Towns this year makes $53 million. Mm-hmm. Next up is OG at just under 40. Then there's Brunson who's not getting traded, and then there's Bridges at 25. So I'm trying to remember. Let me check here what Giannis makes. Like they can do a Giannis deal, but like they have to. It would have to involve other pieces. Giannis this year is making. It's like 60, I think. Giannis is making right now 54. So Towns is an almost perfect match. Like you could trade Towns, but like the Bucks aren't going to trade. Yeah, so there's that. If it's Giannis, if it was a Giannis center, an OG deal, you could do like OG and like Mitch and McBride and your picks. But like the thing with the Knicks is anytime you get into with this team trading 2 for 1 or 3 for 1, however good the one is, they have no depth. So you're doing the Carmelo deal all over again. You're saying, all right, we got the biggest name in the trade. We got the best player, but we have no depth now. And from the last couple of years, you're not winning if you don't have depth.
Absolutely.
So
there was one trade that they mentioned, a 3-team trade between the Mavs, Knicks, and Bucks, in which Giannis comes to the Knicks, AD goes to the Bucks, and Karl-Anthony Towns goes to Dallas.
I think that's the way it would happen. It would be a 3-team deal. I still think it's tricky because it's so weird. Like the only way I can see the Bucks trading, because if the Bucks say, all right, we're trading Giannis, there are a half dozen teams minimum who can put together a much better offer than the Knicks. Right. The only way the Knicks are getting Giannis is if he tells the Bucks, I'm going to the Knicks, like make it happen. In which case you'd have to have a 3 or 4 team, like something. It's tricky because Giannis has continually, to its kind of annoying degree, is always talking on the one hand about, I want to play for a winner, and if it's not here, it'll be somewhere else. And he's always like, I would never ask for a trade. So fucking shut up and like make up your mind. But he's the one name out there that like you want to get some electricity back in your team's expectations. That would be the move.
Question before I have my question. Old man Knicks fan has mentioned Jemison has been playing, looks better than Hulk. And you also mentioned Diawara. I like Diawara, man.
Yes.
That's a sleeper right there. I really do like him.
I do like Diawara too. I think this year he's very impressive. He's the second. So it hasn't been Huck Porty. Kolek and Diawara have been the 2 young players that have, I think, impressed him most. I think Diawara is still like fairly rough, obviously, but like very promising, very exciting. And might, the more they see flashes from him, it might make it easier for them to consider maybe we move. He's not on the same level, obviously, but like you might feel more comfortable trading Bridges if Diawara has shown like defensively he can do these things, or you might be more comfortable trading OG if you feel at least like Diawara can be in the rotation, something like that. Yeah, I have been very, very pleased with how he's come along this season.
I said with Diawara, before we make any trades for OG or Miles, let's let this season play out. Let him get the experience. Let him get the exposure on the court with the team that is the way it is right now, and see what happens. And we'll see where we go from there. Because you got to think about it too. The salaries, the Knicks, next couple of years, this is their window, right?
It is.
Next 2 to 3 years, you're gonna have Brunson has to get re-signed again. His contract has to be renewed in a couple of years. You got big money locked into OG. You got big money locked into Bridges. You got big money locked. Well, those are 2 guys you got big money locked into, but they're not cornerstone. They're It's not players that bring you a championship. I'm sorry.
They have so. One of the underrated aspects of everything Leon Rose has done is that although the Knicks have like no cap space, I think what's more important, and you saw this, I think first when Dallas traded Porzingis, initially they traded him to Washington for Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie, and it looked ridiculous. Like you traded Kristaps Porzingis for those two dudes. But what they were doing, which was smart at the time, was realizing, like, okay, we're never going to be able to trade Porzingis for a contract of the same value. Like, anyone who makes his money is so much better than him. He has no value. But they turned his contract that was pretty immovable into two smaller movable pieces, and that's how they got Kyrie. I think with the Knicks, one nice aspect, if you look at their payroll structure, they have enough diversity in the number of in the contracts that they have that like they can make a move like for just about anyone who comes available. I don't know if I don't think, but hypothetically, let's just say this. Like, let's say here I'm gonna throw this one at you. Before I do that, let me be clear on this first. How are you down on Towns right now from where you were coming into the season?
Am I down on Towns? He's exactly what I expected him to be.
Okay.
And here's why. And this is what I mentioned last season. As much I wasn't a big fan of Julius Randle, I felt they should have held off from trading Julius Randle to see how he would operate with the team currently constructed with OG and Mikal Bridges. I want to see that connection before making a trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. Okay. Karl-Anthony Towns at times has shown to be a little bit soft, and that's a big negative for me. I don't know. He has a Hall of Famer. He has a Hall of Famer center who's an ambassador to the New York Knicks. You should talk to him. You should go in that gym with him.
Yeah,
Mr. Hoyer Destroyer himself.
I mean, if he had Ewing's moves like on the block with his 3-point, he'd be like unstoppable. So let me give you a name. There's a player who is potentially available, who actually makes a little bit less than Towns does. He makes in fact he makes OG, even better, he makes OG money. So you could do this guy straight up for OG, or you could move it around. You could add Herb Jones if you want to. Would you today trade Cat and get back Zion Williamson? He's so talented.
The injuries scare the hell out of me. But if he was healthy, without a doubt, I'm taking Zion.
So this year, his per 36, he's scoring 27 a game. He's shooting 58%. That's with no threes. He hasn't made a three. He hasn't made a three all year, but he's 58% from the field. He gets to the line 10 times a game, 7 rebounds, 1.5 steals. I mean, he shoots at the rim 73%. Like, now, again, games played. Last year, he missed 52. The year before that, he missed 12. The year before that, he missed 53. The year before that, he missed the entire season due to injury. His rookie year, he missed 2/3 of it due to injury. This year, he has missed about 1/3 of the game. Like, it's on and on and on. But, like, I'm only asking you because I feel like there's a I think Knicks fans are getting a feeling that, like, this team is close, but this team is not it. Something has to get shaken up. And maybe it's Towns, but what if it was Zion? Like, what about that deal instead? Would you trade OG for Zion? Forget Towns. Would you trade OG for Zion? So now it's Cat. Tell me.
I was just about to go there. Reason being, You're trading OG for Zion Wilson. What do these guys have in common? Injury history. They're due to miss some games.
OG's Kyle Ripken compared to Zion.
But
they
both like to miss some games during the season.
Yeah.
But the upside that Zion gives you, outside of OG is up and down with his offensive skill set. He's a legit 3-and-D forward. Not only that's all he could do. But with Zion, you got a guy who could go in the post. You got a guy who could drive to the basket. You got a guy who could do. You can play defense too. Don't sleep on his defense. He can play some defense.
Picture a triangle with Zion on the block, Brunson feeding him from behind the line, and Towns either in the corner or behind the arc at the top. How do you guard that? How do you guard those three?
You can't.
And like I've said this to you before. Like I don't think if you're going to play with Browns, if you're going to play Brunson and Towns, you are never going to be defensively great, ever.
Right.
The only way you can win with those two guys is if you go all in on, okay, we're going to be unstoppable offensively. We have playmakers, we have Bridges, we have Mitch, like we have playmakers, but like they're not good enough defensively to be balanced.
Right.
They have to be like occasionally in football. There's a team that just like you can't stop, the Warner Rams. Like you can't stop them. And if you had, in theory, I'm not, God knows I'm not saying Zion Williamson is who you want the basket to throw all your eggs into, but in theory, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Zion, Towns, how do you can't, that's impossible to guard.
That's a big lineup.
They can all handle the ball. They can all pass. Hart and Bridges are terrific cutters. Brunson gets to the rim. Zion's a monster inside the arc. Towns can shoot. Like that to me would be that, or maybe that's something that like you don't have an answer for. I feel like right now teams have an answer for the Knicks.
Maybe having Zion could open things up for Brunson outside on the perimeter. It'll definitely open up Cat. Cat will not be obligated to be in the post. He could be out the 3-point line where he wants to be, where he could either shoot the three or drive to the basket.
And then even there, if you want to work Towns on the block or Brunson and get a situation where you force a double team, a couple swing passes, and now Zion is throwing past a closeout and coming in down the lane. Like, of course, history says that Zion Williamson will probably miss most of every season. So, like,
yeah.
But let me ask you this then, I guess. There's a point where a team says, like, we have to swing for the fences. What we've been doing hasn't been working. The Knicks haven't been trying this that long. This is this roster's second year together. I mean, they've been together for a year and a half and have done a lot in a year and a half, and they've worked in a new coach. Are you right now at a point where you feel like, I know that it's kind of new, but I've seen enough to know they don't have it? Or do you feel like this dog days kind of the season? Like, I saw what this team did last year. I think they're better than that. Like, come back to me in May when they're, rolling into the car. Like, where do you feel more on that end?
Wow.
Or do you feel somewhere different, like altogether?
Because I think you got to have a sense of urgency if you're the Knicks. Got to have a sense of urgency. The reason, like I said, Boston, don't you worry about Boston this year. Think about when Tatum is back healthy next season. And they're gonna build they got some space, they can add some plays to that mix, and they'll be right back being the top team in the East. It's Tatum, Brown. That's a tandem that's elite. That's an elite tandem. You can't take that away.
I'm gonna give you the irony of why everything is going really well for the Celtics this year, and I'm gonna give you the irony of why that might be bad for the Celtics and good for the Knicks. And I'm going to tie it into to the Chicago Bulls and World War II. So in World War II, the German submarines are wrecking. They're wrecking the Allies. Like, they are just, England is starving. They're sinking. Americans, like, they cannot stop these fucking submarines. But they can detect through radar like the submarine like signals, and the more the submarines are successful at kills, because like the German submarines would they would swarm together. They'd be, oh, we see a boat, come here, and then all the subs would come together and attack. The only issue was that created a lot of radio chatter, and the English began to figure out, okay, when you hear a bunch of radio chatter, like you can find. So the irony was the Germans had so much success, it created so much radio that helped the British crack their code, and then they began then the British began slaughtering the submarines. In 1994, Michael Jordan retires from the Bulls, and Scottie Pippen has an unbelievable season. He's like third in MVP voting. The Bulls finished tied with the Knicks. They win like 55 games. Pippen was incredible. Almost beats the Knicks in the second round. Unbelievable. If you remember, then Jordan came back, but Pippen and the Bulls always had problems afterwards because now Pippen wanted to get paid and Pippen wanted to be treated differently because he had shown, okay, Jaylen Brown is a guy who always sounds chip on his shoulder. He's kind of disrespected, like he should be more. And Tatum's been gone, and the Celtics have been way better than anyone thought. Jaylen Brown's been way better. He's probably a top 3 MVP player this year.
Yep.
Would you be shocked if 12 to 18 months from now, Jaylen Brown is telling the world that, you know, I've had a good time in Boston, but like I owe it to myself to see, you know, what the best player that I can be, and so I need to go spread my wing. Like I can say Jaylen Brown, and I think it's fair. I can see him being like, you know what, I am this good, and now I've shown that I'm this good, and I don't think Brunson would have wanted to stay with Luka forever. I don't think that Brown's going to want to stay with Tatum forever. But as long as they are together, they are terrifying to me.
Yeah.
They're so scary. He's so good this year.
It took a godlike defensive effort by Bridges to win that series.
It took everything.
Yeah.
It took everything.
So,
that's one reason why, like, I still do feel also good about them when they get to the playoffs. Like, Hukporti's going to matter less. Kolek's going to matter less. If Clarkson is still here, he's going to matter less. Like, their top 7, 8 guys are pretty much as good as anybody's, and better than, other than the Thunder. I don't think that there's a top 7 or 8. Maybe Boston. No, not this year. Other than the Thunder, I don't think there's a top 7 or 8 where I'd be like, they're definitely better than the Knicks. Like, Houston's close, but like Spurs are close, but like, no, I think they have a chance still to do things, but like their defensive energy is terrible in somebody. I mean, blowing out the Nets is like whatever. That's like a G League team, but like these games where they can't. Here's a good stat for you that I've seen a couple of times. The Knicks are one of 2 teams in the league who are giving up. They're one of the 10 worst teams giving up threes and giving up baskets at the rim. So the 2 things everyone tries to stop is threes, and there's only 2 teams in the league that are among the worst at both of those things. One is the Knicks and one is the Pelicans, who are, you know, like the worst team in the league. So something fundamentally has to change because this team is not good enough to win leaking that much, you know?
I had a thought, but I want to put it out there. I don't want to trade Cat. I do not want to trade Cat. I'm kind of like sentimental with him coming back home. His dad is a big time Knicks fan. I'm kind of sentimental to that.
Yes.
However, Cat needs to be the player he's supposed to be, and that's the biggest frustration. That was a frustration in Minnesota. It's a frustration now, and just maybe, the Knicks will probably wait for Anthony Edwards to knock on that door and say, "I want to go to New York."
I always wonder about that, and if Towns would. I always wondered, would I could see Towns wanting to go back to Minnesota, and I just always wondered, like, Brunson and Ant, but I think Brunson and Ant would work very well together.
And is great off the ball,
Yeah.
And he has the cash in to tell Brunson, I'm taking over.
I mean, he would. Yeah. I mean, well, they both. You would have two. You know, that'd be like in a different way. It would be like Steph and Clay, where like either one of these guys, go ahead. You know. Yeah,
So
I mean, I've always had this nightmare that Ant ends up in like Miami. I really want that dude on the Knicks, man. Like I really would. There's not a lot of players I'd rather have than Ant.
If Cat is still here, that's a very big possibility.
That's interesting. I never thought of that. That's very good. Yeah, because he's one of the only star players that, and he talked about it this year when they went to play in Minnesota. He talked about going around with his wife and seeing their old spots and like how much this is. Like, I think he's totally open to it. If you remember, like this trade only happened because the Quirk and Hartenstein's contract, where the Knicks couldn't offer him enough money to bring him back, and that Mitch's ankle injury, the recovery went on much longer than they expected, and they were going to go into the season with no center, and that was what led them to say, okay, we're trading Randall for Towns. But like that was never like the plan originally. That was like the best pivot. So I wonder if Dolan just said publicly, like, I expect to win a title, like, is he going to start pushing Leon Rose to do something? Or, like, does Leon Rose at this point have enough power and clout that he can be like, look, man, I know what I'm doing. Like, stay out of this. I would think he has that clout.
I think he does.
Yeah.
Are we done with the fascination of Zach LaVine in a Knick uniform? Are we officially done with that fascination?
I never got started on that fascination. So
a lot of people
I've
before
been done on that. I've been done on that. If you want to bring Zach LaVine to replace Jordan Clarkson, I'll talk about that. But
they're not going to give enough for that.
That money may not work out.
That'd be a steal. Yabusele, you give him Yabusele.
Your problem is LaVine makes about 40 million. Clarkson makes $2 million. Yabusele makes $5 million. I remember when I remember in Unionville growing up, there was a ice cream truck. The guy named was Julie would come around on the ice cream.
Yeah.
And I remember going to Julie and like giving all my change like one piece at a time. That's this trade you're trying to make for LaVine right here. Take a Clarkson, take a Yabusele. Here's the Dadier. That's not going to do it.
Nah. There was one that I had a player that I had a thought in my mind, but probably next podcast, if I remember, I'll write it down, let you know about him. But the Knicks got work to do.
They do. They definitely do.
And they got work to do, and they're the 3 seed in the East. That's the word. Yeah. That's the good part of it. If you the silver lining, they're still a 3rd team in the East. Eventually, I believe they're gonna get to the 2nd seed. Eventually,
yes, I expect them to finish 2nd.
But they still got a lot of work to do. Oh yeah, this is a player. I think I'm gonna put it out there. Old man Knicks fan. You still on the pod? You still viewing? Still viewing? What do you guys think about Michael Porter Jr. as a Knick?
I think, let me check this.
That's the guy I was thinking about. I forgot, it came back to my mind.
Let me see one thing on him.
Defensively, he fits. He can play some defense. Offensive game, he's a 3-point shooter.
He's as good a floor spacer as there is.
6'9".
Okay. So here's your issue with Porter Jr.
Okay.
Porter Jr., you have to trade either OG straight up or Bridges, Mitch, and Deuce. He's not worth that.
No.
Now, you could talk me into maybe, we talked about Zion before. It's a very different look, but like if you trading Porter for OG does give you that element of like, this is a guy dead-eye shooter. Like, you have to stay, even if you're attached to him, he's got the quickest release. The room Brunson and Towns would have to work with Porter would be incredible. But you would have to trade OG. He's the only person you could trade straight up to make it work. And I don't know why the Nets would do that when they can probably get more. I like it. Like I would totally be like, that's an interesting, but I feel like if the Nets are going to trade Porter, they can probably get more than OG.
Gotcha. All right. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we are hot with Knicks right now. Right. I mean, I don't want to pivot to the other blue and orange team that plays with a hard ball and a wooden bat.
Hard head sometimes.
Hard heads, but I don't like what I've seen. Before we're gonna say our Knicks, but I want to just mention this about the Mets. I don't like the fans' perspective at all. As far as the hate for Pete Alonso, the livid hate, I think it's 60-40, probably 70-30 hate for Pete Alonso.
Really?
And yeah, I've seen it on all the groups. And we need to stop with the narrative that he wanted to leave. We need to stop with that bullshit. When Stearns worked out that contract with Pete Alonso, let me tell you guys something. David Stearns was not in that room. Scott Boras was not in that room. It was David Stearns and Pete Alonso when he called out Pete Alonso in that press conference. It was them two in the room. That contract happened between the two of them. Okay? Steve Cohen knew he was going to opt out. But Steve Cohen basically, as a hedge fund owner, he's going to tell me, he basically told Pete, prove to me you want this contract that you wanted. Prove to me. What did Pete Alonso do? Did he bat 272? 124 RBIs? How many home runs did he hit? 38?
40-something doubles.
40-something doubles.
30 RBIs.
Someone mentioned his runners in scoring position was like batting average 230 something. I'm like, nah, that got to be more than that. Got to be more than that. The problem that I think the Mets fans has been lost, albeit David Stearns is starting to redeem himself in my eyes. He stopped shopping in the thrift shop, started shopping at Macy's and Nordstrom's now. Albeit he had to wait for the sales to happen at those stores to get the players. But that's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. Okay. I like to trade for Peralta. We need a starting pitching. But as a fan, Matt, as you're a Met fan like I am, that is not enough. The starting pitching is still weak. You're going to go into a season with Peralta. As far as I'm concerned, the definite pitchers on that team is Peralta and McLean. Everyone else is a wild card. I need one more pitcher. I need a third pitcher to change my mind about that. Whether it's Skubal or Valdez from Houston. You got to sign one. You either got to trade for Skubal or sign Valdez to ease my mind. That has to happen. And then you could play around with trades for. I don't think you're gonna get enough. I don't think you can get anything with Sean Manaea. I don't think you can get anything from him. He has to prove himself. Which other pitcher? Senga.
Senga. Peterson.
Flamed out at the end. Yeah.
Tom
Still got.
McLean.
Yeah, but I was kind of shocked they gave up Sprout for Peralta and not Tong. I felt Sprout was had the better upside for me.
I think they're higher on Tong. Tong was the most highly regarded of all of their minor league pitchers last year, even ahead of McLean. I don't know where Sprout was in relation to. I think they were comfortable trading Sprout in some extent because, in addition to McLean and Tong, Christian Scott is coming back. So, I will say that I think Stearns has pivoted very nicely in a lot of ways. With all the things that I've talked about that I didn't like about the Alonso stuff, if you are strictly pointing to like my job is to help the Mets win a World Series, Bobby Shett is I think 4 years younger than Pete Alonso. He hits about 300. He's a great ball player. He's versatile. He's not a great defensive player at all, but you can play him at 3 different positions. He was a shortstop when he came up. He came back last year injured and played second base in the World Series. He's playing third this year. Like he's a 300 hitting, all-star hitting, versatile 27-year-old infielder. Like that's nice. Stearns has now trotted out this line. I don't quite get it, but like maybe it's true. Stearns is excited about the fact that he says like the Mets have 4 shortstops in their infield because everyone in the Mets infield has been at some point played shortstop in the major leagues. That's the optimistic way of looking at it. Like, wow, he wants to be more athletic. You got four people who have played shortstop in the majors. Like, that's athletic. The pessimist would. Go ahead.
Does that include Mauricio? Does that include Mauricio in that 4?
No, it does not. It would be Polanco, Semien, Lindor, and Bichette. Now the pessimist would say, okay, well, of your 4 infielders, 2 of them next year are playing a position they've never played before at the major league level. So I think it's probably. I'm willing to think that like Polanco will probably be fine as a first baseman. And if you take the Luis Robert Jr. trade in also, where like the Mets they gave up nothing. Like Acuna has nowhere to play on this team now. And when you have Acuna, Beatty, Mauricio, Vientos, Acuna, like multiple of them are going to go out. So I like that trade because even if Robert, he's had one incredible season. A few years ago, he had 38 home runs. He's stolen 30 bases multiple times. He has won a Silver Slugger. He's won a Gold Glove. Like, but he's hurt a lot. Other than that 1 year, he's always missed at least like a third of the season. The thing is, when you think of Harrison Bader, Tyrod Taylor, Jose Siri, like they've been so bad in center field that if Robert just does what he's kind of done recently, which is like 15 home runs, 20 to 30 steals, elite defense. Okay, he misses some games, but they love this kid in the minors, Carson Beng. So like they want to play him and work it. So like even if Robert only does that, that's so much better than anything that they have had in recent years in center field. I'm excited about that. I think that I thought they really gave up very little in the Peralta trade because I think with Scott back, with McLean's success in particular, and with Tong's like all the hype around Tong, like again, they were in position to be like, okay, we can totally trade a starter, like a young starter. And like Sproat is not, he wasn't their best. He's not their second. He's not their third. He's like, so they traded maybe their 4th best young starter. Now again, it's very fingers crossed. It's like the Zion thing, but like if Peralta's your 1. Senga can pitch at a number 2 level, no question. Like Senga can be a 2. Manaea, Peterson, or McLean, one of them could rise to the level of. We know Manaea's done it. Peterson did it for half a year and was an all-star. McLean did it for 2 months. Like if Peralta, Senga, Manaea, McLean, Peterson, Tong are all like pretty good. And don't forget this, not to overlook this guy,
Holmes,
Tobias. There's Clay Holmes also, and the other arm they got, he'll probably go to the bullpen. My God, I keep forgetting his name is Tobias Myers. I'm going to tell you right now. The other pitcher, Tobias Myers. If you don't remember his name, he is the pitcher that the Mets faced against the Brewers 2 years ago when they won in the playoff. He pitched like 5 shutout innings. He's a very intriguing young arm. Was very successful for them as a starter 2 years ago. Was pretty good for them out of the bullpen. So for the Mets, he'll be a bullpen arm. I think like right now compared to last year, like I don't like what happened with Diaz. But to be fair to Devin Williams, he's had one kind of not good year. and he's had many dominant years. And he's back now working with the guy who he had the most success with. So, like, if Devin Williams is closer to his career norm than what we saw last year, and now they've got Weaver in the bullpen, they've got Tobias Myers in the bullpen, and probably they're going to be able to throw one of their starters in the bullpen because you can't have 7 or 8 starters.
Right.
The bullpen's probably better. The starting rotation's definitely better. The defense is better because Robert is a Gold Glove center fielder. Semien is a better second baseman. Beatty's going to play some left field. I think that Stearns has done a nice job pivoting from what looked like a disaster to, you know what, he wanted to get younger, and they have. He wanted to get more athletic. They have. He's not, other than Soto, they're really not trapped into any big contracts. The one thing I would just say to point out, and I think it's why Myers might be a big addition, Freddie Peralta, for all of his really, really good stuff, he does not pitch deep into games. I think last year in 33 games, 33 starts, he only pitched more than 6 innings, like maybe it was twice. I'm going to look it up right now. But like Freddie Peralta is a really good pitcher, but he's not all right, he's going to give you 8 innings. Like, he's not that kind of pitcher. And for a team that last year struggled so much with their starting pitching giving them no depth, there is something about, hey, like maybe you could. He's not that guy. He pitched. Here it is. He pitched more than. He pitched. Oh my God. He only pitched more. He pitched 8 innings in his second start last year. Other than that, he never pitched even 7 innings in a game. So he's really, really good. Like, he's really good, but like, you have to have. That's a staff that needs someone somewhere that just like can give you innings,
7
or
go
yeah,
7.
or do and they have enough. I think they have enough arms to do it. It's good for Senga to stretch it out. Maybe go long with your rotation.
Let me. Old man Knicks fan mentioned Tobias Harris. Tobias Myers has the highest release angles or this pitch in the league. If Tobias could be a poor man's your Savage for the Blue Jays, I'll take that.
They said, yeah, his the numbers on the rise on his fastball is like among the highest in baseball, which would speak to why he has. I'm very low key excited about him. I think he's a really nice second arm that they got.
It could be that the guy that we really needed.
Yeah. Well, remember when the Mets? This happens sometimes when the Mets traded R.A. Dickey. The big guy they got back was Travis d'Arnaud. He was like the big. And Noah Syndergaard was like, oh, cool. He's like an interesting arm, and you know, you saw what happened there. So it does happen. Definitely happens.
Definitely. Old man Knicks fan, definitely. If like I said, if Tobias could be a Savage type of essence, I'm all with it. Like I said, David Stearns is starting to grow on me. Even though I don't like the way he did it to make me grow on him. I want to choke him in the beginning. Now I'd be like, all right, I'll probably give him a small round of applause. But let me get back to what I was saying about Alonso, about the narrative that he didn't want to stay. If they don't give you an offer, why would you want to stay? That's what I'm gonna leave it just right there.
I read one thing. Joel Sherman, I think, wrote about this today in the Post, and I had never thought of it, but it's fair. Sherman was proposing that Stearns came into this job and always, he was already a successful major league executive. He has a vision. Like anyone who takes over a team, they have a vision at that level. They have a very clear vision of what kind of team they want. This is a competitive industry. It's the top of the world. You don't get a lot of chances. Like, you're going to go down doing it your way. And that when Stearns got here from the start, he wanted to get rid of certain players. Not in just like right away. If he could have traded Alonso right when he got here, he would have. If he could have traded Nimmo and Diaz, he would have. He couldn't because he was the new guy. He had no clout with Met fans. Like, he can't show up out of nowhere and do that. And then we talked about this. Then they had a very unexpectedly successful 2024, and it ends with the drama that it ends with. So now there's no way, like he literally can't be like, all right, go away. But you have that tension of like, well, the team is having some success, but the person whose job it is to win the World Series with them is looking at them and saying, this isn't enough to go on. Like, I need to make a change. That is a tough spot. And, I think to be fair to him, there's two ways to read it. It depends if you trust him or not. If you don't trust David Stearns, it looks reactionary and panicky, and it doesn't make sense. Like, from one perspective, it looks weird that you let Alonso go because run prevention and you replaced him with a first baseman who's never played first base. You gave Kyle Tucker this big offer who's not a defensive player, like, at all. Again, talking about run prevention. And you're going to give Kyle Tucker all this money. And then you lose Kyle Tucker and you sign Bichette to play third, which will make you weaker defensively because Beatty is a better defensive third baseman than Bichette is, who's never played the position and was not a good defensive shortstop. So if you want to look at Stearns that way, it could look like you don't know what you're doing. And even the good move, Peralta, you just made that move because these are your boys. These are your old guys from Milwaukee. Like, but if you're optimistic, if you're optimistic about Stearns, you would say Bichette's 4 years younger. He's probably he's a different fit, maybe behind Soto, but like a 300 hitting, silver slugger right behind Soto is pretty good, especially a righty. Again, so it gives them another righty. I would love to see them add one more pitcher, but like maybe that's greedy, and they probably won't.
I believe for me to make this postseason go from hell on scorched earth to triumph, for me, Matt, is if he pulls the rabbit at the hat, sign Valdez from Houston.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Now we're cooking.
I'm gonna tell you I don't want it. I'll tell you why I don't want it. And
okay,
we can have baseball players are all different people. You played catcher. I played catcher. I do not want on my team a frontline starter, especially who crossed up his catcher intentionally in a game so he could hit him in the chest with a fastball because he was pissed at him for like dropping a strike 3 like before then, which Valdez did last year. Like, I know it's and I could be wrong. It's one moment. We've all had bad days. I would not want the world to see, the worst things I've ever done at my job. Like, it's one moment, and he's a great pitcher, and like, but that to me feels like such a red flag. Like, if you could get that frustrated in Houston at something that you did that, like, what are you gonna do in New York when they start booing? Like, I hear you on like, yeah, sign him and like, wow, now you got a sick rotation. But I don't. That seems very, very. What is wrong with you to me? In high school, that would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Let me tell you something, Matt. I played catcher.
Yeah.
Up to college. If a pitcher ever crossed me up on purpose, and there's a man on first base who could steal the second base, he better not be on that anywhere close to that rubber. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
He will get pegged so freaking hard for crossing me up like that. I don't play that shit, man. I don't play that shit.
It just makes me think, like, well, if you're willing to do that, like, that's probably not the worst. I mean, usually what you do in public is not usually the worst thing you've ever done. So if that's what you've done in public, man, I mean, and I'm looking at him now. He's had basically, he's been good the last 5-6 years. The last 5 years, he's been good. He did. We talked. Here's what's intriguing about him. If you want to get him, we talked about like you got to get someone to throw innings because Peralta does not throw innings. Valdez led the league in innings 3 years ago. The last few years, he's thrown 200 innings, almost 200 innings 2 last 3 years, 3 last 4 years. Like, he's a high quality arm that pitches a lot of innings. That plus Peralta would be pretty good. What I'm very intrigued about with that idea specifically, I'd love to see the Mets do it, and I bet Cohen would do it. I wonder if I'm very interested in some of the things that are happening with the labor issues coming up with baseball, and the crying about the Dodgers after they got Tucker, and some of the owners swearing now that now we're definitely going to have a salary cap, and the players have always said like we're never having a salary cap. Cohen could really pull a nice, like, if you think there's going to be a labor war, now would be a good time to hoard talent. And Valdez costs you nothing but money.
Nothing but money.
And if you get him, now again, you sign Valdez. Now let's say maybe you want to trade Tong in a deal for an incredible first baseman who's available. Something like, now you have the flexibility to trade for something else somewhere, an electric bullpen arm. Mason Mount, a lot of people talk about he may get traded. Like, you could send them Tong and now you get him, and now your bullpen becomes Weaver in the 7th, Devin Williams in the 8th, Mason Miller, that's his name, Mason Miller in the 9th. Like, that's a hell of a bullpen. So we continue to dream.
One last thing, man. I know we're running close on time. Schoolball. If I'm trading for Schoolball, if I was GM, I need to make sure the extension is in hand before I finalize that trade.
I would think that. I don't know if Boris is his agent. If it's not Boris, I would think he would definitely want to sign that extension because it's his first big. His agent is Scott Boris. So
here we go.
It doesn't mean it's impossible. There have been usually older Boris clients like always go to free agency. It's possible that a young pitcher who has like probably still arbitration years ahead of him is more in a position to be like, okay, just give me the best deal I can get now, and I'll get my really big contract when I'm 27. But like, I think anyone trading for him will, and I wonder if that's what the Mets are holding out for. Like, Peralta's the first move. You didn't give up any of your really big chips. No. You're still in position to like make as good an offer as anybody when he's available. And like, if a year from now it's Skubal, Peralta, McClain, like who knows? God knows. Like, then David Stern should be welcome to come on the True Players podcast, and I will apologize to you personally for things that I said.
Matt, I'm not afraid to eat crow because that's my team. I want my team to win. I'm not afraid to eat crow. I ate crow with Zach Wheeler. I ate a whole lot of crow with Zach Wheeler. And I've been on this podcast. Said Zach, at the time when Zach Wheeler was a free agent, he's not worth $118 million. Well, Zach Wheeler fixed his walks. He's an ace of the Philly staff. And he's been healthy.
He is, yeah. He's been great. I loved him. I loved his wind-up was he was there when they had DeGrom, and Syndergaard was good, and Harvey and Katz, and always to me the most beautiful delivery was Wheeler's.
Easy going.
Their pitchers. Yeah, no, and just a certain kind of arc to the way his arm would, like, just beautiful. Doc was like that when he would throw when Doc would snap off like a big curveball, and it was just that perfect yeah, Wheeler was good, man. Wheeler was good, and hopefully, yeah, we've been wrong before. I'll be happy to be wrong about this. Very, very, very happy.
Now, one last thing before we end the podcast is I'm pretty much resigned to Ronnie Mauricio not being on this team at the start of the season. I'm pretty much resigned to it. The reason I say this is because this guy, for what I'm seeing, is potentially five tool. And they're not trying him at left. I don't know if they're trying him at left field They're not trying him in any outfield positions. We know he can play third base. We know he can play shortstop. We know he can play second base. I don't know. Could I say close to elite level? I wouldn't say that. But he's a good enough defensive player. He's not gonna cost you games at any of those positions in the infield. But the problem I have with him is, and with the fans, the way they're acting is, this man came back from an ACL injury. Who's to say that ACL injury he hasn't fully recovered yet, which affects his right? Which knee did he hit? I'm trying to remember which knee did he hurt. If it's his right knee, that's his bag. That's his leverage leg while hitting right-handed. It's the back leg.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why he struggles hitting right-handed, because he's not fully back from. He doesn't have the full strength back in his right leg. But Matt, when I see him hit that bomb to win the game, I think it was in Cincinnati off the third deck, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, but I'll give you a former Met who Mauricio reminds me of. I like Mauricio a lot. I would keep him as like a hitter, pinch hitter, kind of thunder off the bench in a game. And I'm not convinced. Like, Semien has taken a dip offensively in recent years. Mm-hmm. It's not impossible that Mauricio or Beatty or someone could make a push for, like, I should be the everyday second base, and like Semien becomes your kind of defensive replacement. So it's not impossible. I would keep him for those reasons. I do like Mauricio. He's not. I don't think he's considered someone that would adjust to the outfield. I think he is considered like a hitter who, ideally, you'd want to play him like at second, because he's not a good defensive player.
You don't think so? He got a hell of an arm, though. He could throw.
He has a good arm. Well, that's why I put him at second base. I don't think he has a great glove. I don't think he has a strong arm. And I like the thing with his bat. I'm with you where, like, when I see what Mauricio can do, like, to me, of the Beatty, Acuna, Mauricio, Vientos crowd, I think Beatty's probably has the best chance to be the best major leaguer. I thought Acuna was the best, like, utility kind of guy, where, like, he can help you on the bases, he can help you defensively, he can help you pinch it in. I think Vientos has the best, like, sort of consistent power bat of the bunch, but Mauricio is the most electric bat of all of them, like, by far. Like, when Mauricio hits it, there was a player the Mets had once. I always remember him in a Subway Series hitting a bomb against the Yankees, Richard Hidalgo, who, when he caught it, like, it was 3 miles gone. But he struck out a lot. Mauricio strikes out a lot. Now again, this is a guy we're talking about who has had, in his entire lifetime, 269 at bats, and he is 20. He'll turn 25 right when next year begins. So who knows what he is? Like, I'm with you. I would not want to get rid of him.
I don't want to get rid of him at all.
I thought they're going to keep one of I thought it was two groups. You're going to keep Mauricio or Vientos for their bat, and you're going to keep Beatty or Acuna for the multiple things that they do. I know that they feel Beatty can play left field, so I think he's good. I don't think Vientos really has a job here.
DH.
So, yeah, and I think maybe, but, like, also you might say, you know what? Maybe I want Mauricio. He's a switch hitter. Get his bat in the lineup a lot more. Play all three, non-first base. So, you're going to want to give Bichette sometimes a day off. You're gonna want to give. Semien's not young; he's like 35 or something. Like, you're gonna want. So I think Mauricio could have a spot and could do things. He reminds me a lot. He's not the same, but if you ever remember Kevin Mitchell as, like, a young, really talented player who could do it, he played every position. 86, other than pitcher, he played, I think, every position. He played catcher. He did literally every. And Mauricio's not quite that. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that, like, Kevin Mitchell was like a dynamic bat off the bench and just a guy you could put anywhere and feel good about. And I feel like Mauricio could be that kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see it happen when other than Soto, especially now with Alonso gone. Other than Soto, there is no one when they like connect with the ball on that team that's more exciting to me, probably than Mauricio. When he smokes it, when he's lefty and he smokes it, like man.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I looked it up. He injured his right knee. Right ACL was the one that he hurt, which probably definitely affected his right-handed. Definitely, I think affected him right-handed last season.
Yeah, sir. I mean, you would think he's only going to be healthier, and that has to be a good thing for him. I would really like to see him, make a good run and just carve out a spot for him on the roster. I would really like to see him make it.
And keep in mind, I don't think he has any more options anymore.
I don't think he does.
So, and if they let him go on that waiver wire, he's going to get scooped up very fast.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess on that note, we should end the podcast. We'll have Matt on the show. Maybe Matt could be my venting board for the NFL episode I want to do.
Yeah.
Recapping last week and my not so secret interest in rooting for my man Sam Darnold and Seattle Seahawks. So I just honestly, Matt, I just want to see if Sam Darnold makes it to the Super Bowl. I want to talk to Joe Beningo. I want to talk to Joe Beningo.
Beningo will be quiet that week.
Oh, he gonna be all the pain. I want to hear him do that little scream he does. The Jets had him. Oh! I was playing the Super Bowl with the Seahawks.
Yep. After watching what Gino did there.
Yeah.
After seeing Aaron Rodgers get the Steelers to the playoffs.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna say something that may be an indictment of the coaching of Aaron Glenn, though, which I don't want to do. The Steelers did make the playoffs with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields the year before.
Yeah, but I would say the Steelers roster was a little better.
Fair,
better coaching.
Fair is fair. Fair is fair.
Truth is truth. Truth is truth.
And old man Knicks, I like you, man. I like you definitely. Sam never had any players. And Le'Veon Bell said something. Says this many times. He felt that ESPN set Sam up when he said about that he's seeing ghosts. That wasn't supposed to be on the telecast.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me though, that's always been an indictment of the Jets. Always, which is since Mangold and Ferguson, they can't protect a quarterback, and it doesn't matter. I'm kind of glad when Dante Moore said he's going back to school next year. I know some Jet fans were very upset because if Moore is in the draft, you probably get him number 2, and he's an exciting prospect. The last thing the Jets need right now is to invest in a quarterback of very limited college experience when they have no offensive line and really very little. Like, the Jets need to build infrastructure. I think the best thing for the Jets is that Moore did not come out, because now they can draft either that Reese kid from Ohio State, or they can draft offensive lineman, build some infrastructure, and then next year, when there's supposed to be like 2 or 3 very exciting quarterback prospects, now go make your move and bring him into a place where he can succeed. If they drafted Moore this year, he would have gotten killed last year running around. He'd be like Dart with the Giants. There'd be some highlights, but like, you couldn't protect him. He would get killed. Garrett Wilson would be like, all right, I'm out of here. And you'd have to start building everything. No, man. This is what the Jets needed. Draft the best player available and just start building something.
I mean, the offensive line, I think I think the offensive line is improved. They got their bookends. The 2 tackles, they're good. They got their bookends. But the guy,
it would have hurt them to add one more. All right, that's a good lineman. Like, that wouldn't hurt.
No, it wouldn't hurt. Well, I don't want the Jets. I mentioned that on my solo podcast. I don't want the Jets to make the same mistake Gettleman did with the Giants. Get so desperate for a quarterback, you draft Daniel Jones at 6 You could have had him at 19.
Yeah.
So the Jets at number 2 get the best, either trade down or get the best player available. Then get your quarterback at 16, which Mel Kiper has said it will be Ty Simpson. But I don't know, man. I like that Ole Miss quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. If he's not able to get his 6-year eligibility,
yeah,
that's some guy you gotta look at. Ole Miss has been putting out some NFL quarterbacks.
I just feel
Manning,
I feel like
Dart.
yeah, they do. But I just feel like it's been 10 years of, like, literally Darnold was going to be the savior, and you couldn't support him. And then Zach Wilson was going to be the savior, and you couldn't support him. And Aaron Rodgers was going to be the savior, and you really didn't support him. You can't make the same mistake 4 times in a row.
Matt,
there are other teams that bring in quarterbacks who succeed because there's already something in place. You know.
Listen, when you mentioned Zach Wilson's name, I just threw up 3 times in my mouth.
I'll tell you where I live now, and where everyone is into the Buffalo Bills. But the year before the Bills drafted Josh Allen, they made the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Like, they put something together. And then they landed Josh Allen, and they brought him into an environment where, like, he didn't have to be the savior. He was joining something that was already good. And boom, they took off for a decade. When Brady, look at the division. When Brady came to New England, Bledsoe had taken them to a Super Bowl. Yeah. Marcel, there was already things in place. The Jets have to put things in place.
The thing is, too, that these my fellow Jet fans who will never let Mo Lewis live that down.
What was Mo supposed to do?
And Mo Lewis, by far, is probably in the top 5 player in Jet history.
He's up there. He's definitely up there. I'm not complaining to Mo Lewis.
Top 5
on air history. Or in person. I got nothing to say to Mo Lewis, but thank you, sir.
But he gets vilified for that.
Well.
Yeah, I agree, old man Knicks fan. They gotta let Mo Lewis slide, Come on.
Man. We're not talking about Marvin Jones here. We're talking about Mo Lewis.
Marvin Jones, man. I for Marvin Jones, that middle linebacker, he was so great in college.
I thought he was gonna be like,
oh man.
I was so excited about Marvin Jones. I thought Shade Tree Jones, they called him. And I thought, like, he is game changing. This will be their LT.
Yep. That was the draft with Emmitt Smith. That was
Emmett
Smith
draft. No, wasn't that Blair? That was Blair Thomas.
Yeah, no, my bad. Blair Thomas.
Which is worse. Oh, yeah.
Oh God,
because he was, I think, number 2. I think he was
number 2.
Yup, Blair Thomas.
He was trash from Penn State. Trash. Trash. Marvin Jones.
I don't trust when the Jets draft someone from Penn State, and I don't trust when they get someone from the Steelers. Anytime they get someone from Pennsylvania, they suck.
Yeah, Neil O'Donnell was a big free agent signing.
O'Donnell,
15 with him.
Alan Faneca, Le'Veon Bell, one of the receivers. Who was the receiver?
No. Santonio was good for us. Plaxico was bad.
No, not him. Not him.
Plaxico.
Wasn't there another one in the last 5 years from Pittsburgh?
Now you got me thinking.
There was one. Because I remember being like, God damn, another Steeler. And then Aaron Rodgers and Neil O'Donnell. Yeah, if they're Steelers, I'm like, it could be Terry Bradshaw in his prime. I'd be like, no. If Mike Tomlin wanted to coach the Jets, I'd be like, any other team, I would say, yes, you can't come here. We can't have another Steeler coming in here and wrecking shit up.
No, I think Mike Tomlin. We spoke about the race thing, man. Listen, they were calling for Todd Bowles to be fired after going 10-6, and that was the Jets' last winning season with Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles seems to have done better for himself since then than the Jets have. I also seem to remember a guy named Herm Edwards.
Good old Herm.
had really the best Jet extended run since Weeb Eubanks.
Yeah.
Like by definitely.
Parcells, but Parcells set the foundation with the offensive
Parcells had
line.
he did, but Parcells only was here like 2 years.
2 years, and then Al Groh took over, and Al Groh couldn't stand Woody, and he left after a year.
And Rex had 2 good years, but like Herm had like a good. It wasn't the peak, but like Herm was. I remember Herm was like the first Jet coach in my lifetime that like you could relax for about 5 years because like the coach knew what he was doing. No one's perfect, but like Herm was good, man.
Old man Knicks fan. Braylon was from Cleveland.
Yeah, who was the? Wait, let me find this. Oh,
that was the receiving tandem that protected Sanchez the most. But they had Edwards, Holmes, and Cotchery.
Yes. I liked Holmes so much, man. I think he played at Miami in college. Did he?
Did he? I'm not sure.
Why do I feel like he did? I feel like he did because I liked him. Because I like Miami. That's my college team. Yeah. And I feel like when Holmes came to the Jets, I feel like I was. Let me see this. I feel like he went to Miami because I was like really excited about.
Yeah, he had Curly. Yeah, he had Curly too. Though that receiving core, that Jet, it wasn't superstar. Wasn't superstar receiving core, but it was a solid core, a solid group of receivers.
And you had a line, so you were able to throw to them.
Yeah, listen, got man.
To me, always, man. It starts with the Brick Shaw.
The Brick Shaw and Mangold. God rest his soul, man. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
The Jets.
It does.
The Jets are probably the only team in NFL history who had two Hall of Fame centers for 18 years in a row, from Mawai to Mangold.
Yeah. Well, they've had great line play over the years. To me, always that's where it starts. Gotta have that.
So, Brees, they got Brees. They're gonna franchise Brees. Brees is gonna be here for one more year.
But do you think Wilson wants to stay? What do you think of Wilson at this point?
He's staying. He's
Are you high on him? Are you down on him?
They got rid of Rodgers. They got rid of Rodgers for him.
Yeah.
If you want to know the truth about that, see, Jet fans have like selective memory and selective thought. The reason why they got rid of they got rid of Rodgers is because they want to keep Wilson happy. If they kept Rodgers and Devontae Adams, Wilson was going to ask for a trade. So who would you rather have? You want to have old Rodgers and an older Devontae Adams, or you want the young Garrett Wilson? They chose the Garrett Wilson. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
If you guys, I mean, some Jet fans, old man Knicks, you probably agree with me too. A lot of Jet fans are just tone deaf. And I'm a Jet fan, and I'm realistic.
I know. Even if you're a Jet fan, you're not proud.
I'm realistic. Let me tell you something. Old man Knicks fan, when I went to a Jet game live, they're 2-0. So maybe I should give myself a season ticket holder, and maybe I go to every game. They're 2-0. Yeah, man. I kept you over, man. Look at that, man. I kept you over. It was good podcast, man.
Yes, it was good, man.
So definitely, I'm gonna get ready to get my notes together for my little podcast about the NFL playoffs. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, I have it out for you guys before the games on Sunday. Let me see. Shout out. This I'm going. It's gonna be a good game. Seahawks and Rams. Patriots in Denver. I'm not gonna give away my picks for the Super Bowl on this episode.
Gotta keep them wanting more.
Yeah. Well, really, you guys went to the London game? Old man Knicks fan? Wow. But I will say this. If when the Jets play at the Falcons in Atlanta, I will be at that game. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is a beautiful stadium. If you've ever been in there, it's a beautiful stadium. Joey G brought me there for a tour of the locker room and all that on the field. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And no matter where you sit, you get a good view of the game. Great view from the game, no matter where you sit. So I'm the sun's getting real low on me.
Right. Same here, man. Same here.
Old Man Knicks fan, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks a lot, man.
Definitely, we about to sign off, man. Hope the Knicks turn it around. Definitely have Matt on probably before spring training starts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
On that note, definitely, guys, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for all the next new episodes. You know when I'm coming. When you see me start that theme music, that means I'm on. And most of the time I'm live. So all right. So definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Old Man Knicks. Thank you for being a great viewer, man. I hope to see you more. All right. It's your man Big Dom signing off on the podcast. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace, everybody. Take care.
Peace.